Welcome to the It Factor. We're Jemmy and I, exploring a new blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan, CEO of CDML, a managed service provider in Queens, NY, offering network management, voice over IP, unified communications as a service, cybersecurity, compliance, infrastructure as a service, cloud solutions, and Microsoft 365 and Azure solutions. If you're a small business owner or manage IT for a growing organization, this episode is for you.
Yeah, and today we're getting into something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but I promise you it's very real.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the article we're diving into today is by Len Kaplan, and it's called "The Cybersecurity Threat Level Just Spiked. Global Conflict is Now a Direct Risk to Your Organization."
Right. And the mission for this deep dive is to really figure out why a geopolitical conflict happening, thousands of miles away is suddenly an immediate threat to your local business.
Yeah, because that connection isn't always obvious. So we're going to decode the mechanics of that threat and, more importantly, break down the actual practical steps you need to take today to protect yourself. Oh, and real quick, if you find this deep dive helpful as we kind of get into the weeds here, just hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us keep bringing you this kind of analysis.
So to start, we really need to look at this one alarming data point Kaplan highlights right away. Cybercrime has surged by 245%.
245. It's massive.
It is. It's a massive surge since the recent escalation involving Iran. But, that raw percentage kind of hides the actual structural shift happening beneath the surface.
Right. Because reading through his analysis, this really doesn't feel like a temporary bad storm.
No, not at all.
Like, we used to look at cyber threats as random weather events, right?
Yeah.
A phishing attack over here, maybe some malware over there. You just buy a bigger umbrella and wait it out. But this feels like the entire climate has changed permanently.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. The climate shift analogy is spot on. It's not just more people typing malicious code in a basement somewhere. We're looking at a full structural change.
Yeah.
It's this wild convergence of state-sponsored tools, criminal organizations, and these new AI platforms all operating at the same time on what Kaplan calls a global cyber battlefield.
And that phrase alone is intense. Global cyber battlefield. What does that actually look like for, say, a mid-sized business?
Well, a lot of it comes down to automated reconnaissance.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
Meaning you have these highly sophisticated botnets, and they are just relentlessly scanning massive blocks of the internet. They're not looking for your specific company name.
They don't even know who you are.
Exactly. They don't care. They're just looking for an open door, an unpatched vulnerability, an old firewall, a known flaw in an email server. They map out all these weak points on a massive scale.
Wait, I got to jump in here and kind of push back on behalf of the listener, because if I own, a regional logistics company with maybe 30 trucks, or, I don't know, a mid-sized accounting firm in Ohio,
right.
I'm looking at this and thinking, why on earth would some Russian state-sponsored exploit kit care about my local shipping data? I'm not the Pentagon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and honestly, that is the most common and probably the most dangerous misconception in IT today.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because you're right, the state-sponsored actors themselves, they probably don't care about your logistics data, but the ecosystem they've built absolutely does. This is what we call trickle-down cyber warfare. You don't have to be the primary target of a nation-state to get wrecked by their tools.
Because the tools don't stay with the governments.
Exactly. The article points out this really troubling trend with new exploit kits linked to suspected Russian actors. It used to be that launching a zero-day exploit,
which is an attack that totally bypasses security, right?
Right, completely unseen. That used to require millions of dollars and a whole building of state-funded engineers. But now, those exact elite tools are being reverse engineered, stripped of their trackers, and just sold on dark web forums.
Wow. Kaplan actually mentions one specifically, right? The Dark Sword exploit kit.
Dark Sword.
And the article says it's actively targeting mobile devices like iPhones. But I always thought the iPhone environment was this super lockdown fortress. How is a trickle-down tool getting through that?
Well, they target vulnerabilities deep in the architecture, often things like the web browser engine, or they use what are called zero-click vulnerabilities.
Zero-click, like I don't even have to tap anything.
You don't tap a thing. A malicious payload comes to your phone, maybe as an invisible text or a weird media file, and it just executes code in the background. It breaks out of the app sandbox and gets full system access.
That is terrifying. So if these intelligence-grade tools are just being leased out to everyday criminals online, is this basically like military-grade weaponry being sold at a local pawn shop?
It's actually worse than a pawn shop because a pawn shop runs out of inventory. Software is infinite. It's a limitless armory. A low-level criminal doesn't need an R&D budget anymore. They just pay a monthly fee for malware as a service, plug in the IP addresses they found from those automated scanners, and boom, they're launching nation-state-level attacks against your local business.
So the barrier to entry is just gone.
Completely gone.
Okay, so our external walls are being hit by these infinite military-grade tools. But reading Kaplan's breakdown, the scariest part isn't even the external threat. It's that we are actively, if accidentally, building backdoors ourselves from the inside.
Yes, the internal threat.
Right, which brings us to shadow AI.
Oh, man. Shadow AI is a massive blind spot right now. To understand it, you have to think about SaaS platforms, software as a service.
Right, things like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, your CRM.
Exactly. We all use them, and they constantly talk to each other to make our workflows smoother. But now, developers are just cramming AI features into every single one of these tools.
Which sounds great on paper. I mean, an AI that summarizes my inbox or writes client emails, yes, please.
Right, it's a huge productivity boost. But the problem is the permissions. When you integrate one of these helpful little AI assistants, you usually get a pop-up asking for access. And what do most people do?
They just click allow? Nobody reads those.
Exactly. They just click allow. And suddenly, this random third-party AI tool has read and write access to your entire company mailbox and calendar.
And the IT department has no idea this is happening because the employee just clicked it themselves.
Right. It's operating totally in the shadows. Hence, shadow AI. You have an unsanctioned algorithm sitting inside your network, scraping data, sending it to external servers with zero oversight. And on a global cyber battlefield, attackers are actively hunting for these sloppy connections. They use that AI tool as a bridge right into your core data.
So it's basically an insider threat that you aren't even paying. But speaking of insider threats we actually are paying, we have to talk about the espionage threat in Kaplan's report, because this part was surreal. The North Korean remote IT workers.
It really is a masterclass in exploiting modern remote work.
So the intelligence says that thousands of individuals are posing as legitimate IT workers to get jobs at Western companies. And this isn't just a phishing scam. They are literally passing technical interviews and getting put on the payroll.
Yeah, they are officially hired.
But how? How are they physically doing this without HR realizing they're not, sitting in Texas or Ohio?
They use these crazy proxy setups. They call them laptop farms. Basically, a North Korean operative will partner with someone actually living in the U.S. The U.S. citizen gets the company laptop shipped to their house, plugs it into their normal home internet.
Oh, my God.
And then the operative overseas uses remote desktop software to control it.
So when the company checks the login logs, it just looks like John from Ohio logging in from his living room.
Exactly. It looks perfectly normal. They use stolen identities. They use deepfakes for the video interviews. And once they're inside your IT department, they have two goals. First, they take that big Western salary and funnel it back through crypto to fund the North Korean regime.
Generating hundreds of millions of dollars, according to the article.
Yeah. But the second goal is the espionage. And that is way more damaging. Because they are already inside the castle walls, right? They're getting paid to write code, so they just quietly map out your data, and they intentionally plant back doors. You are literally paying a hostile state actor to set you up for a future ransomware attack.
Okay, so let me stop and ask a really grounded question for the business owners listening. If these shadow AI tools are hidden in apps we already trust, and these fake IT workers look amazing on paper and can pass a coding test,
right?
How is a busy manager supposed to actually catch this before it's too late? Like, what does an attack look like on a random Tuesday?
Well, that's the pivot we have to make. Forget the movies. Your screen isn't going to suddenly show a skull and crossbones. Real attacks are super subtle.
So what are the actual red flags?
You have to look for behavioral anomalies. A big one is impossible travel logs.
Okay, what's that?
Say an employee logs in from New York at 9 a.m., but then their account tries to access a database from Eastern Europe at 10:30 a.m. That's physically impossible. It means their session token was stolen.
Oh, wow. Okay. Kaplan also mentions unexpected multi-factor authentication prompts as a warning sign.
Yes, MFA fatigue. You know when your phone buzzes asking you to approve a login but your laptop is closed?
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
That is an attacker who already bought your password on the dark web. They just keep triggering the login over and over, hoping you'll get annoyed and just tap approve to make it stop.
Which bypasses that second layer of security.
Exactly. Or, another sign is just your network running really slowly. People complain the database is lagging. It's easy to just blame the internet provider, but it could actually be an automated scanner quietly downloading gigabytes of your data in the background.
Wow. You really have to pay attention to the little things. And before we get into the actual checklist of solutions, I do want to naturally remind everyone that the CDML blog really is a goldmine for this stuff. They publish new, highly relevant posts for business owners every Tuesday and Thursday.
It is absolutely essential reading. And the best part is, Kaplan doesn't just scare you with the threat. He gives a right-now checklist. 5 foundational steps you can take immediately without tearing down your whole network.
Let's run through those. So step 1 is enforcing multi-factor authentication across all critical systems. But based on that MFA fatigue attack you just described, I'm guessing basic text message codes aren't enough anymore.
You guessed right. Basic SMS codes are getting really easy to bypass with SIM swapping and fake login pages. You need phishing-resistant MFA.
Like physical security key?
Hardware keys, yeah. Or
Yeah.
conditional access policies that actually check if the device itself is safe and in a normal location before it lets the login through.
Okay, step 2 on the checklist. Patching your firewalls, endpoints, and virtual private networks. Obviously, patching is important. But why are VPNs such a massive target right now?
Think about what a VPN does. It's the literal gateway into your corporate network. Attackers love targeting those secure remote access devices because if they find a flaw there, they can just walk right past the firewall. They go straight from the public internet into your internal systems.
So catching them isn't just like a chore you do once a month?
No, it's an emergency protocol the second a vulnerability is announced.
Right, okay. Step 3 is reviewing user access and deleting unneeded accounts. Basically cleaning house.
Yeah, getting rid of ghost accounts. But it's also about the principle of least privilege. If someone moves from finance to marketing, you have to revoke their access to the accounting software immediately.
Because attackers look for accounts that have way more access than they actually need.
Exactly. If an intern's login gets hacked, and for some reason that intern has admin rights to the main server, it's game over.
Okay, step 4 ties right back to our shadow AI problem. You need to inventory your SaaS applications.
You can't secure what you can't see. IT teams have to go into their cloud environments and actually audit those permissions, find out which random third-party apps have access to your data, and shut down anything that hasn't been officially approved.
And finally, step 5, verify and test your backups.
This is huge. A backup is completely theoretical until you actually try to restore it.
Right, because if it fails when you need it,
You have nothing. Modern ransomware is designed to hunt down your backups and lock them before it even touches your main servers. So you need immutable backups.
meaning they can't be changed or deleted once they're saved.
Right. And you have to run fire drills to make sure you can actually restore your business fast enough to survive.
But looking at all of this, auditing permissions, checking impossible travel logs, migrating to new MFA, doing fire drills, managing this is a full-time job.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're running a growing organization, you do not have a time to hunt for shadow AI at 3 in the morning.
Which is why the old reactive IT model is totally dead. You cannot just wait for a server to break and then call a tech to come fix it. Not against these automated tools.
Yeah, that's like waiting for your house to be on fire before you buy a smoke detector. It's way too late.
Exactly. You have to move to a proactive defense posture. And that's exactly what CDML does. Instead of waiting for the breach, they do continuous 24/7 monitoring.
And how is that different from just having regular antivirus software installed?
Antivirus only stops files it already recognizes from old attacks. CDML uses endpoint detection and response, or EDR. It monitors the actual behavior on your network.
So if a normal app suddenly starts acting weird,
Right. If it tries to connect to an overseas server out of nowhere, the EDR system just instantly cuts that machine off from the network. Automatically.
before the IT team even gets out of bed.
Exactly. Plus, they handle all that cloud security we talked about, managing the permissions so you don't have to fight shadow AI alone. And they build out the incident response and disaster recovery plans.
Because perfection in cybersecurity isn't really possible, right?
Right. A highly motivated attacker might eventually find a crack. But if you have a tested response plan, it turns a business-ending disaster into a manageable disruption.
It's all about resilience. The climate has changed. The automated bots are out there right now, and they're using military-grade tools. If you're listening and realizing you're still using that old break-fix model, you need to change your approach today.
Seriously.
We really invite you to visit CDML.com. You can subscribe to the blog there, and you can contact their team for a security assessment or a review of your defenses. Don't wait until you get hit by some dark web exploit. Go to CDML.com and get proactive.
Because when you look at everything Len Kaplan laid out, there is this deeply uncomfortable truth. You might think your business is too small to matter in a global cyber war, but these automated scanners, they don't care about your revenue size. They are just testing millions of digital doors at the exact same time. Which leaves you with one really chilling question to think about.
What's that?
Given how interconnected our cloud platforms are today, what silent, unsanctioned AI tools are reading your company's data in the background right at this very second?
We're Jamie and I. Thanks for listening. Till next time.